Hi guys, I hope you well. I know I normally talk about politics and this is a political blog, but I wanted to share my experience with my EV charge I bought recently in order to help some of you understanding what are the benefits and what are the issues that I'm finding with the EV car, and just to help you avoiding some of the mistakes I did when I bought my EV charge. Okay, so I would like to touch a few topics. The first one will be the price of EV, like electric charging per month, the type of EV charges, the companies that provide these facilities, the distance I cover, and how much it costs me, different discounts that you might find with these EV charging companies, and some of the issues that I found with the EV cars. So first of all, I would like to show you some of the companies that I use for EV charging. You have Potpoint, InstaVolt, GridServe, and Clean Energy EV. These companies are based in the UK. I'm based in the Midlands, so these companies are here. Bear in mind that some of these companies might not be in the place in which you live in the UK or other countries. Okay, so there are many more companies that I use, but I'll go through each one of them and where you can find them. So Potpoint is a company that I use normally when I visit like a shopping center. They're based in the parking spaces, and they categorize as slow charging points. They feed about 7 to 11 kilowatts to your car, so this is really slow. Then you have Monster Charge. I mainly find it when I do a sport, like sports centers, and the charging is okay, but it's still around 7 to 11 kilowatts that you get into your car. Then we have InstaVolt, which is a really big company in the UK. They normally provide fast charging points, and I mainly find them in like McDonald's or in certain motorways as well. Then we got Age Electric. I normally find them in motorways. That's the one I use when I'm in the motorways. The rate is kind of expensive. It's around 72p per kilowatt. Then you also have Grid Serve, which is similar to Age Electric. I normally find them in petrol station in the motorways or service stations, and the fee is quite high. And you also have like BP and Shell. They also provide charging points in the motorways and in the cities. It's quite expensive as well, but these companies they also provide discounts, which I'll touch about later. You have Clean Energy EVs, the one I use the most now in the sports centers, leisure centers, and sometimes you must find them in parking stations. And the rate per kilowatt is 40p per kilowatt, but the amount of kilowatts you get in the car is around 7 to 11, which is slow charge. If we compare it to like InstaVolt Edge Electric, where you get 40, 50, or 70 kilowatt, and in some cases even 100. Then Source London, I used them once in London in the parking place, and it was it was quite good though. The amount of kilowatts I was getting, it was around 15 to 20 kilowatts, so it was kind of medium charge, but the fee was quite cheap. It was around 40p per kilowatt. And then right now, what I'm using the most is ESB, which are based in the Midlands. They provide like fast charging points. The rate per kilowatt is around 70p. Okay, but they have discounts. Now, I'll go into the discount. The first discount I would like to touch is Octopus. Octopus, they actually have like a tariff which is called Intelligent Octopus Go, and these tariffs are for individuals that install like a charger in their house, this charge point in their house, and they can charge the car during the night. And it's 7p per kilowatt. This is the lowest I've seen, and obviously is the best. So if you have this in your house so you can afford it, it's good. Bear in mind that it might cost around £700 to install it. Tesla also does something similar, and it costs around £800 to install it. Uh, Octopus can give you some discounts when it comes to installation as well. They can give discounts to companies as well, so it can cost less to install it. However, bear in mind the installation costs and the difference between that and how much you charge in public. And sometimes it might be more beneficial to use public than to pay £800 up front and then use the 7p per kilowatt during the night. Okay, Obviously, if you can afford it, it will be the best option. Bear in mind that you might have a car on credit for only 2 to 3 years. So take into consideration this difference when it comes to installing the charging point in your house. The same with Tesla. They provide really cheap rates. It's around, for non-Tesla cars, you need to pay £8 subscription per month, and then you pay around 34 40p per kilowatt. And they are based in like Tesla places where you buy your car, and there's also quite a lot of Tesla chargers in motorways. And obviously the charging is really high, so it's around 100 and 150 kilowatts what you fit it into your car. So bear this in mind, because some cars cannot take this amount of charge, and although your manufacturer might not tell you, be careful, because you pay the £8 per month and then you got to charge and your car actually is not taking that charge because it's too high. Okay, so not all Tesla chargers are compatible to every non-Tesla electric car. If you have a Tesla car, it's good because the rate is really cheap. Some of the old cars, they have it for free. Some they get any for like 20p per kilowatt or something like that. And obviously this is really good and convenient. You need to consider the difference between the price of your car, electric car. Some of them go as low as like 28k or 34k, and the difference between that and how much you pay for a Tesla, which is around 100k or more. So it's a huge difference. So calculate how much you save by buying a Tesla and paying the lower rate compared to buying a normal car and then paying the rate for the non-Tesla cars in a Tesla. Okay, the difference is huge. It's huge. Talking about, one second. Yeah, we're talking about around 60k difference. If you take 60k and you divide it by 5 months, or even per day, sorry, by 4 years, or per day, the days in 4 years, you'll understand that that's a lot of money that you can use for public charging and you're still saving money. But if you can afford a Tesla, I recommend a Tesla for the low rates that you pay for it. Okay. Now I explain to you where these places are normally located. Okay, I'm gonna talk about the discounts on these companies. So Pot Point, there's no discount. It's 40p, 35p sometimes per kilowatt. It's quite cheap. Okay, um, now my car, the full battery charge is 60 kilowatts. Okay, and as you can see here on this column, I've calculated based on the total rate per kilowatt how much it will cost me to fully charge my car in for different with different companies. So with Pot Points, for example, cost me £21, which is the cheapest one. Then the next one will be £24 with his Monster Charge, £24 with Clean Energy EV. Now the darkest ones, which is this one, which is InstaVolt, it costs £51. Bear in mind that this is based on the 85p per kilowatt rate, which is normally during daytimes. From 8 p.m. to 6 a.m., InstaVolt has a lower fee tariff, which is around 58p per kilowatt. Okay, so 58p per kilowatt is a massive discount compared to 85p per kilowatt. However, you can charge it only during the night. I think now they're extending it from 9 p.m., not from 10, from 9 p.m. So I used to use InstaVolt a lot. I used to sit at McDonald's whilst I was charging my car. I might eat a burger or something, and within 30 minutes, my car was charged at 58p per kilowatt. Okay, the 85p per kilowatt, I have to use it once because I had a trip and I have to charge it during the day. But this is something that I won't do again because it was quite pricey though. It's £51 in total. Then now at this moment I'm using ESB. Okay, I'm using ESB because they give a good offer, good discount. You have to pay a £4 subscription. Okay, and this £4 subscription, what it does, instead of paying 70, I think 76p per kilowatt, you just pay 59p per kilowatt, which is 1p more expensive than the InstaVolt charge during the night. The good thing about ESB is that this applies for the whole day. So you can charge it at any time during the day and you pay 59p per kilowatt and you only pay £4 subscriptions a month. With Tesla, it's £8 subscriptions a month and you pay around 34p to 40p per kilowatt. It depends on what time you charge it. As I say, some cars like mine are not compatible, so I paid the £8 and I lost it. So don't do this mistake. Make sure that you understand if your car can use Tesla chargers, because some of these chargers, they're really aggressive. They put like 150 kilowatts in your battery, and this could lead to overcharging and even explosion of your battery. Okay, so be really careful. Make sure it's compatible. In many cases, your car will know this and it won't allow you to charge in a Tesla place. So if you are putting the charger on and you see no battery feeding into no electricity feeding into your car, that means that it's not compatible with your car. All the chargers, they do like 50 kilowatts, something like that. So those you'll be able to use if you don't have a Tesla car, or if your car doesn't take 150 or 100 kilowatts. Okay. Now you have the slow chargers, which they charge around 7 to 11 kilowatts. Okay. You have medium chargers, which is around 40 to 50, even 20 to 40. And then you have fast chargers with around 40 to 70, something like that. And then you have that ultra rapid chargers, which is 100, 150. My car only take like fast chargers, which is normally when I plug it in. Bear in mind that when there are many cars charging at the same time, the amount of electricity you feed into your car slows down. So let's say it says you can get up to like let's say 100 kilowatts or 70 kilowatts. If there are more cars parked, it might reduce significantly. So it was one time where it says 70 kilowatts in the motorway, but my car was charging at 40 kilowatts, which is still okay. Within 40 minutes, my car was in full charge and I was able to reach my location. Okay. And so those are the main discounts that you get with these companies. Main thing about these companies that provide EV charging is that you have to download an app in order to use it. Okay, so you download the app, you put your normal like essential details, and then you put your preferred payment methods. This could be a debit card, a credit card, whatever you want to use. And then every time you're gonna use them, you actually have to use the app or a card. Some of them they provide you with a card that you can just tap. But the app is really convenient because you just swipe or you tap a button, and then the car starts charging. So you have to use the app to use the charging point. Some of them actually you just plug it, you tap your card, and it start charging. Okay, but I recommend to use the app because by using the app you'll be able to save data, which is important for tracking purposes like the one I have here on this tracker. Okay, so there are other apps that what they do, they put together a bunch of companies that they provide EV charging points, like Electroverse, for example. Within Electroverse, you get a map which tells you exactly where the charging points are for different companies. Bear in mind that not all of them are there. Some of them they reach an agreement with Octopus, which is the company that runs Electroverse. You're able to locate them in the map and use the Electroverse card to charge in the charge points. Not it doesn't always work. Okay, like I have massive problems with GridServe and Age Electric using my Electroverse card, and I end up using the app, which is more simple. But with the Electroverse app, you get that beautiful map which actually shows you where the points are. So depending on where you live, it's important to understand what is the most near or the closest charging point, because it's convenient, right? So now that we know how to use the apps for each company, now we know that there is a map that you can use to find out what is the closest charge point. We're gonna move into the next point, which is the distance that I normally cover. So I didn't calculate the amount of miles I do per month, okay, but I did calculate the main things that I do every month, which is a return trip to London. I do it twice at the end of the month, okay. So from Birmingham to London, it's around 2 hours and 25 minutes, and the total distance is 129 miles. Okay, so sometimes it might take me 3 hours, but normally it's 2 hours and a half or a bit less. I normally leave like early in the day to avoid traffic. All right. So 125 miles, I charge my battery at 100% before I leave my house, and I use around 60% from Birmingham to my final destination. Okay, So I use 60% of 60 kilowatts, which is the full charge of my battery. I use around 36 kilowatts for 129 miles. So I'm left at 40% charge when I reach my destination. So I have 40% to get back to Birmingham, which obviously is not enough. I always need an additional 30% in order to reach my location of 40%. So some cars, they have a feature which shows you what is the range of your car in the map based on the distance that you're covering, based on the speed in which you're going. It will tell you how far you can get with the amount of charge you have in your car. Okay, so this is really helpful because the map in some of these cars, if they have this technology like BYD has, it will tell you where there are charge points where you can charge as well. Okay, so 129 miles, 36 kilowatts, okay, is pretty much 0.279 kilowatts per mile. And if you use kilometers, it's 0.174 kilometers, kilowatts per kilometer. So a trip to London, from Birmingham to London, just one go, it cost me around £21 24, and then return is just double of that, which is £42 48, and sometimes even £50, based on where you're going to charge, which is something I'm going to explain later. Then the double trip in total, it cost me £84 96, 84.96. So I used to have a petrol car which cost me about, just go and return from Birmingham to London, it didn't cost me 42.48, not at all. It cost me around £30 in total, go and return to Birmingham. 35 pounds, okay? So the petrol car was more efficient when it came to long distances. And however, where the EV car beats the petrol car is when I'm driving within the city, which is like 80% of my trips is within the city in which I live. And petrol car used to use a lot of petrol, seriously a lot of petrol, because during the traffic, so you're in traffic or you stop for a traffic light or whatever, okay, your petrol car continues consuming. And the city in which I live, there are certain times where there's quite a lot of traffic and the consumption increased significantly. But with the electric car, if I'm a stop, I'm not using electric. I'm not using much, maybe 1 kilowatt, because of the, I don't know, the radio, the music you're playing on Spotify, or basically the heat that you might be using if it's cold, like you're in winter. Okay, so in terms of city driving, my electric car, the EV car, is way more economic. Okay, you save quite a lot of money compared to a petrol car. But if you cover long distances and you do long trips, obviously petrol car might be more convenient, or even a hybrid car will be more convenient than an EV car. So before buying your EV car, make sure you understand this, because it can cost you a lot more if you need to cover long distances. If it's only city driving, I think is better. Okay, and I'm basing this in public charging. If you charge at home at 7p per kilowatt with Octopus, obviously electric car, even if you cover long distances, it will be your best option, right? Now, in my trip to London, obviously, as I explained to you before, I reached my destination, I consumed 60%, I have 40% left. So I have to stop in the motorway in a service station or petrol station in order to charge my car. So here's where the main problem is, because although you get many different options within your city and you can choose the cheapest one, when you're in the motorway, the companies that provide you with EV chargers, sometimes they charge a lot. I'm talking about 74p per kilowatt, as you see here from GridServe, or AG Electric. Where is it? Sorry, we're in the wrong place here. Okay, 75p per kilowatt, as you see in GridServe, or AG Electric 72p. Okay, if you have a Tesla, Tesla have a long network in the motorways. Okay, so if you have a Tesla, you'll be in a good place, because they're pretty much in many motorways, and the rate is quite cheap. But if you're like me and you have a BYD, BYD doesn't have any infrastructure in the UK. If you compare it to China or other countries, they don't have any, and I have to rely on AG Electric or GridServe on my trip back to Birmingham. Okay, because, as I say, I use 60%, so I need to top up 40% in order to reach my destination. So from Birmingham to my location, 60%. Then from my location to the next service station to charge my car, I consume around 25%. Okay, so I'm left with around 12 or 15% when I reach the charging point, and I charge around 40%. So it's convenient because even if I have a petrol car, I have to stop at a service station to eat something or to buy something to go to the toilet. So I take advantage of this and I charge my car. So in 30 minutes or 20 minutes, I can charge around 80%. Normally, I stop for like 15, 20 minutes, and sometimes I stop the charge because there are instances in which I was charging my car and I went out to eat something, and then I came back and I charged more than what I wanted to charge, which means you have to pay more money compared to what you wanted to pay. All right, you can stop the charge remotely with the app. Okay, that's the good thing. However, bear in mind that many of these companies, once you finish your charge, if your car is still connected to the pod and you don't move out of the parking space, they might charge you what they call an idle charge, which is an extra charge they will charge because you're not using it. Okay, so bear that in mind. So I charge that 40%, and then I have enough battery to get back home and either to travel for like 4 days. But then I have to go back to London, so I have to spend that money again. So I say, in terms of this, petrol was more efficient for that trip, but I only do it once a month. Then after that, all my trips are within the city, so I don't spend much. Now, when I started, when I bought my car and I started charging, the first place I went to was InstaVolt because I wanted to charge my car fast. Okay, and I was paying 85p per kilowatt. This is around £51 full charge. That's a lot of money. So I was really disappointed and I was very upset. But then I started looking at the company's websites and finding out if they have any offers, any discounts, and I found out that Instabolt has provide discount after 10 p.m. Now they increased it to 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So instead of paying 85p, I was paying 58p. That was a huge saving for me. Okay, so from £51, the cost reduced to £34.80. Then I visit sports centers quite frequently, and Pot Point and Clean Energy EV. Whilst I'm doing my sport for 1 or 2 hours, I'm charging my car, and I'm only spending £3 or £7. So these places are really cheap. They're really cheap, and obviously, I don't wait for the battery to lose its charge completely. So I might have 20 or even sometimes 60%. I know exactly how much I will charge. Let's say 20% for doing 2 hours at Clean Energy EV, for example. And whilst I'm doing whether I'm doing football or I'm swimming, I charge my car for 2 hours. And then when I leave, my car is at 80%, something like that, depending. So it's normally 20% water charge in 2 hours, okay? 10% per hour. The charging is really slow, but it's convenient because you are doing a sport or you're eating or whatever you're doing. And whilst you're doing that, your car is charging. So it's really convenient. And also, you spend less money, all right? Then now I'm going for ESB because they you pay £4 subscriptions a month, and this is something that other companies do, like Tesla, for example. You pay a £4 subscription per month, and then they give you a discounted rate. The discounted rate is 59p compared to 76p that you have to pay if you charge without having that subscription. So it's a huge saving as well, 59p per kilowatt. It's really helpful. And the good thing about ESB is that you can do it at any time during the day. So with Instabolt, it has to be from 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. to 6. But with ESB, I can do it at any time. So I might be working. I'll drive to the petrol station, which is like 1 minute away from my house. I'll plug it. I come back walking, which takes me like 4 or 5 minutes to get back home. I continue working or eating or doing whatever I'm doing at home, and then within 40 minutes or half an hour sometimes, my car is charged. I just go downstairs and I put it back into the parking. So that full charge will last me for a week and a half if I'm driving in the city. Also, before driving to London with ESB now, well, sorry, when I used to use Instavolt, I used to charge it at night, 10 p.m. So I used to get home around 11:30. But now with ESB, I'm working Friday morning, for example. I have to travel Friday night or Saturday morning. I'll just charge the car whilst I'm working, and then it's 100% charged and ready to go to London, right? So if you have a charger at home, this won't be a major issue because you just charge it at home whilst you're sleeping, okay? Um, Now that I covered discounts, I want to cover some of the issues that I have with EV chargings. So the main one is when I go to like sports centers, there are specific parking spaces where they are for like EV cars. Okay, there are charging points, but there are many instances in which you find petrol cars that are parking there, taking the EV car space. They tend to be closer to the entrance, so many people will just park because it's closer to the entrance. Although they're going there to do a sport, they don't want to walk too much distance, okay, to get into the place where you need to do a sport, and they rather take the EV charging space, which doesn't allow EV owners to charge their car, and they use it. Sometimes you have EV charge that they are parked there, but they're not using it either. So that's one of the major issues because you have a facility that provides that, okay, but you're unable to use it because there are petrol cars taking that space, although there are many spaces somewhere else, all right? If the parking is full, it might make sense, but if it's not, which is most of the times, for some reason, petrol cars, they'll use the EV charging spaces. This doesn't happen everywhere. I've been to different places where there is a sign actually saying if you are a petrol car and you park here, you get fined £100 or £60 or whatever. There's also signs saying that if you're EV car and you're not using this, obviously you're gonna have to pay because after all, there's a company providing those pods, those charging ports, and they expect to make money out of it. So you have petrol cars parking there, that company won't be making money because the EV cars won't be able to use it. Um, Another issue is compared to petrol cars obviously, when I used to travel to London, like 5 minutes before hitting the motorway, I'll go to a petrol station and I'll just put petrol. It takes me like 2 minutes to do it, and then I'm on my way to London. But with EV cars, I need to charge it before. Okay, it might take half an hour, which is not too long, but I still have to sit in my car whilst it's charging. Or, as I told you before, I'll charge it at the petrol station near my house, and then I'll work, and then I have to go down again to pick it up. Okay, and disconnect it. Okay, that's an inconvenience. On my way back on the petrol station where I have to charge my car, I'm paying 76p per kilowatt. That's an inconvenience because the rate is more expensive than the 59p I pay in the city. Okay, and obviously you need to spend time waiting for it to charge. You might be eating a burger or something, so it's not really a massive problem. But if you are not and you're in a rush, you need to charge the car before leaving. With petrol car, you just put petrol and there you go. Okay, so that's an issue as well. Another issue is that if you don't have a charger at home, um, it's a bit inconvenient because you have to rely in public charges like I do, and you have to find them. Okay, you need to use the the Electroverse app or any other apps that do the same thing. Okay, and you need to find a charging point that you can use. Okay, you need to plan well ahead. You need to plan where you're going, what distance you're going to cover, and if and how much charge you need to put on your car. Okay, and then once you reach your destination, you need to find a place where you can charge your car as well. Another issue is like EV batteries when it's cold, they drain quite fast as well. So when the car gets warmer, they drain less. But at the very beginning, when you start your car and the battery is cold, they tend to take more energy. All right. And during the night, and the battery discharges as well, around 1 or 2%, depending on the car you have. And obviously, that happens to any electronic device that has a battery, it discharges. Okay, so that's something that you need to bear in mind. And that didn't happen with petrol, of course. That's another issue that I have with the EV car. And when it comes to charging, there are certain places where it's not very secure. So you have to make sure that your charger is in a place that is secure, where you you won't have people vandalizing your car. Okay, that's why I prefer to charge during the day and at a petrol station, at a McDonald's, or somewhere in front of my house, because I can keep an eye on it and you don't get people vandalizing your car. I haven't had any problem with people trying to vandalize my cable or anything, okay? But you need to bear this in mind. Another thing is like not all the charging points have a cable. The majority they'll give you a cable. You need to be aware that there is different type of chargers. Okay, you have type 2, type 1, you have CCS. So you need to make sure that the charging port that you're using is compatible with your car. Okay, so mine has type 2 and I can also use CCS. Type 2 is for slow or medium charge and CCS is for fast charging. So you need to make sure that is compatible. Now, some of them they will provide you with a cable. ESB normally has the cable on it, and some of them you have to bring your own cable. Sometimes these cables are vandalized by some people. Okay, they don't look good. Even the whole station doesn't look good. All right, but many of the cases they are okay. But make sure that you always have your cable with you in the car because certain places you will have to actually use it. Mainly in like slow slow charging points, okay? Like for example for me, pot point want to charge a clean energy EV, Source London, I have to use my own EV cable to charge the car, which is not really an issue, but you need to bear that in mind, all right? So apart from that, that's the only issues that I find at the moment with the EV cars. Obviously, the amount of range that you can cover with an EV charge compared to a petrol car is less. The manufacturer might tell you 200 miles, but the actual range is lower. Okay, some car is significantly lower. The one I have, the BYD Auto 3, is a bit lower, but it's not really disappointing after all. They did test it in different ways. Okay, if you go on the motorway, as soon as you go up to like 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, you use much more electricity. However, when you drive in the city at 20 to 30 miles per hour, sometimes 40, you don't use too much electricity compared to when you're in the motorways. Bear in mind that my trip to London, for example, is pretty much motorway. I would say 70% of the way is just motorway. So that's why I consume way more and much faster compared to when I'm driving in the city. Okay. So good things about EV cars compared to the petrol car is that first of all, I have peace of mind. I want to help the environment somehow. I know I consume quite a lot of things, and a lot of things that I have they use quite a lot of resources. But I wanted to do something, so I decided to go for an electric car compared to a petrol car. The amount of pollution is less when you use the car. Obviously, for the manufacturing of the car, you're still using materials that they pollute, and as I tell you in my political videos, some of the minerals that they are used to create the batteries come from like certain countries where there is quite a lot of conflict. Okay, so just like petrol, anyways, all right, it's not different. There are many wars that started due to petrol. Okay, anyways, I think going into electric has I think I'm contributing towards this, okay, towards helping the environment a bit. Now, there are certain workplaces that encourage you to drive with your electric car to your working place. They might give you like a free charge point. So some people just charge you for free completely. They spend 7 hours in the office, they just charge you for free. Okay. There are some places where you can also charge you for free. There are not many now. Okay. Now, the infrastructure in the UK when it comes to EV charging is okay. It's not that bad compared to other countries in the European Union or other countries. Okay, but it could be way better. The main problem here is that it's driven by private companies. Therefore, they need to make a profit out of this, and sometimes the amount of rate they charge is quite expensive. Anyways, they compete between them. So every time you got one getting an offer, the other ones will try to do it because otherwise people will pivot more. They will tend to go to the one that provides the best service or the lower rate. Okay. If you go to other countries, for example, like Scandinavian countries, northern countries, you find out that the government has invested a lot in the electric infrastructure, and many people have EV cars because it's cheaper. Even the EV ports in the house, the installation cost is not as high as it is in the UK, and sometimes the government install it for free. In countries like China, for example, they are like 10 years ahead when it comes to EV infrastructure. and many people have EV cars, all right? So and it's quite cheap to charge as well. I think we might reach a point where the EV infrastructure is going to be as advanced as it is in China and other countries, and people will be more encouraged to use EV compared to petrol cars. Okay, don't get me wrong, I used to like my petrol car, but there are certain things, certain features that the EV cars provide that the petrol cars did not provide to me, and these features in a petrol car will cost a lot more, at least compared to the BYD I have. Okay, there are many things from BYD that they come from manufacturing, okay, like um panoramic sunroof, like a huge tablet with GPS and stuff like that. With my old petrol car, I didn't get this. You have to pay a lot more in order to get these features. So that's something for BYD. I'm not promoting anything here. I'm just saying that that's a really good thing. All right. So electric cars are really futuristic. Okay. They keep updating the softwares and the technology. So I love that. And that's one of the main things that also attracted me towards an EV car, and that basically convinced me to leave my petrol car, move into the EV car. I was between hybrid and EV car, but I ended up going full electric, because I don't know. Hybrids, the offer I got for the full electric from BYD, it was way cheaper than the offer I was getting from other car manufacturers for a hybrid car. Hybrid car tends to cost a lot more. Okay, so there are really good things with the EV cars. Okay, obviously there are quite a lot of uh, let's say issues that I mentioned to you, and mainly are due to the fact that it's an industry that is just starting now. So I think it's gonna develop much more. It's developing very very fast in countries like China, for example. Obviously, there are political um, issues between different countries. They're inputting like tariffs on imports from EV cars from China and things like that. They are prohibiting some Chinese companies from using like a camera, a dash cam. Okay, you have to buy your own if you have a BYD. By the way, you might have installed it in your car, but you cannot use it. You have to buy your own camera. So there's quite a lot of politics around it. But personally, I wanted to import one until I found out that BYD was here in the UK, and I decided to buy one. So my EV experience so far compared to petrol is good. Although the amount of money I'm saving is not as much as I expected because I'm using public charging. Hopefully in the future, if I move to a different house and I'm able to use my house charger, I'll use it. Um, as I say, you actually need to pay the £700 installation fee, but some of the EV cars, you don't actually even need a pot point. Some of them, you can use a normal plug. You can plug it into your house, into any plug in your house, and charge your car. Okay, but you might have to get a good tariff from like ele- uh, Octopus or whatever company you got. If they provide a good tariff during the night, you will be saving quite a lot of money. If not, you might spend quite a lot of money to charge the 60 kilowatts that your car needs. Okay. Also, bear in mind that it's a slow charge, but you sleep for like 8 hours. Within 8 hours, your car is fully charged. Okay, and you charge it every day basically. So my car has this. Like, I can basically plug it into the house and charge it. Have a parking space, so I can't do that at this point. But in the future, if I live in a car or there's a parking space where there is an electric uh, plug, I'll be able to use it. Okay, so that'll be the main issues and the main things that I like from electric cars. I'll add one more thing, and it is that I was used to petrol. I've driven petrol all my life, so I was used to the noise that the engine does. But as soon as I moved into electric and I stopped hearing that noise, it was really, really comfortable. I focus more when I'm driving, okay, and I'm way more relaxed when I'm driving because the engine doesn't make any noise. There is a battery, and that's it. So this helps a lot, believe me, okay. And then you don't make noise outside as well, so people don't even notice that there's an electric car behind them, and there is a noise that the car makes on purpose in order to alert like pedestrians and other drivers, just to make them aware that you are behind them, so they don't just cross the road without even looking, because with petrol car, they will hear the car behind. Some of them they don't. Okay, they're really advanced. They don't make too much noise. But the EV car, it makes no noise. The technology on the EV car is on point. And since I bought it, I love the car. My family love the car. And most probably in the future, if the electric infrastructure continues improving, I'll go for another electric car. Um, as I say, I really love petrol cars, but since I got into the EV, I think this is what I'm going to stay on. And obviously, this technology will continue improving. So hopefully in the future, in the UK, for example, you have the government encouraging people to buy electric cars, and they will be able to provide a better infrastructure when it comes to charging points. They'll get more involved in the construction of these or the installation of these. They'll make it cheaper for people as well, and they might be able to reach agreement with people that live in flats with the administrators and get them to install pot chargers, or some of them have it already, by the way. um, but yeah, for now I'm into it. Um, I'm really happy. I don't think I'm gonna go back into petrol or hybrid unless um, the prices go up. Which, as I told you before, there are major players that they also provide petrol and they also provide electric, and the fees tends to be quite expensive though. So if you get companies running monopolies on this, most probably the price can go really high. It will be pointless to have an electric car. But so far, the way in which it's going is okay, and I wish there was more investment when it comes to the electric charging infrastructure, more public investment, okay, rather than private. But anyways, I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it. Share it with people that they might be thinking about buying the first electric car. Make sure that you consider everything I told you, from the miles to the consumption of your car. Be careful when you choose your electric car as well. Okay, some of them they say many things, but then when you get it, is the complete opposite. Okay, they don't cover as many miles as they tell you. The battery doesn't last as long as they tell you, and there are certain things that they'll never tell you. Don't commit the mistakes that I did when I bought my car, but going into like the easiest or the closest place you could charge and spend like 89p per kilowatt, or even more than that, 90p per kilowatt, where there are cheaper options. Invest some time in finding these different companies, which one is closer to you, or which ones is located where, like, places you visit regularly, because this can save you a lot of money every month. Okay, and I'll be serious, a lot of money. Whenever you have the chance to charge, if you go to like a supermarket or something, do it. Okay, because you save a lot of money as well. And make sure you have like a tracker or something, at least at the beginning, to understand how much energy you are consuming, and also to be able to make a comparison with your petrol car that you used to have before, just to understand if it's better or not. Obviously, if you're in a credit or something, you have that car for 4 6 years or whatever, there is no way for you to go back unless you manage to sell it and cover the loan. But if not, just before buying the car, make sure you research properly. You do your proper research about everything that I've told you now. Consider everything, and then go for full EV. So before buying my car, I watched many videos from different people, and although they're very informative, okay, not all of them went into detail about the cost of EV where I lived, because I wanted something local. Okay, I wanted someone who could tell me how much it would cost me to run an EV car in the UK. I couldn't find a video like that, so I thought everything was good based on the videos I watched, or everything was really bad because there's some people that they're not up for EVs and they prefer petrol cars, right? It's the political motivations, right? So, anyways, after I bought my EV, I have to basically navigate through this new world, new EV world, and find the best way to save money. And so far, I found a way to do it. But obviously, hopefully in the future, I'll find a better way to do it. And as always, I'll share this with you. So I hope you like this video. Please share it with your friends if you like it, and subscribe if you can. Okay, although I talk a lot about politics, sometimes I do videos like this. So I'll continue informing you.